Well, finally, you guys are awake today, aren't you? Bring snowflakes in the picture and everyone's awake on a Monday. Hello, everyone. Good morning to you, wave meteorologist Brian Good. Welcome to Snow Talk. Finally, a chance to talk about snow. And it's not going to be much. Sorry. But hey, can't complain. Snow lovers, you know how this is going to go. But at least we have something to discuss as we head throughout the day today. It's more, again, about impacts in some areas, while others will be watching the coverage of snowflakes in other areas. That may be the storyline that we see in many spots, unfortunately, today. But that's typical anytime you deal with a snow showery type of setup instead of an actual winter storm. That is normally what we would get really excited about. But that is not the case, to be clear, on this one here. This is not a winter storm type of setup. But considering it is the chance to get something more than maybe just a trace of snow, and for some of us today would be the first time this season. So we're starving for it, All right, so let me get right to the snowboard and we'll get right into the setup here. I don't want to waste too much of your time here today. You know, you guys got things to do. So the snowboard does include these snow showers that are developing right now, moving across areas of Indiana. I'll show you the radar in just a second. I do have a rain to snow setup between New Year's and or Christmas into the New Year holiday. Still a lot of data on how that will evolve, because we do go from a fast flow into back to a blocking scenario. That is what's going to allow a little bit of back and forth on the models. If you've been paying attention to that time period, it's been hinting at this for a while, but it hasn't been a strong signal, and that's the reason why, because the problems we've got with the back and forth on the general jet stream pattern. I'm not going to be able to go into a lot of detail on that today. Unfortunately, today is mainly about what's happening for today, but I will have more opportunity to do a longer term later on. Should mention too, based on how things are going here today, more than likely I will be back on again around say 12:30, 1 o'clock today with another Snow Talk for an update on the short term, just kind of an FYI. All right, let's start with the live view. This is at Starlight, Indiana, Starlight, Indiana in Clark County, at Hubert's Orchard and Winery, where there have been snowflakes not too far away from this area, but the camera has been shaking. Certainly, if you've stepped outside, you can sense something's up, right? you have to really compare this to what we would face on a day where we're waking up and it's humid outside and we got a little bit of sun in the morning and we're like, hey, it's going to cloud up. We're going to get a couple of thunderstorms this afternoon that'll develop. One or two areas could see some heavier rainfall, maybe a little bit of hail that may develop, and then they'll fade away at sunset. That's how we have to treat today, except it's colder. So we're instead talking about thunderstorms. We're talking about the idea of heavier pockets of snow showers that will pop. And just like you see in the summertime, though, you may see the sky darken. In fact, you likely will see the sky darken, especially if the sun can try to get through, and it'll look almost like a thunderstorm is developing in the distance. First off, if you're heading in that direction toward the dark cloud, be careful, because that's also a good sign. You probably have a very heavy snow shower ahead of you you'll be driving into. Those are the kind of things you got to watch out for when you're traveling. But as we see with downpours in the summer as well, you can drive through one, you go to the next exit on the interstate, and nothing is going on. You could even have a few sun rays at that exit, in fact. So it's that back and forth of the snow showers, at times intense, and then nothing, that is the main reason for the winter weather advisory coming out today, not snowfall on the amounts. It's about what you're going to experience driving around town, getting close to snow squall level in a few cases. I'm going to highlight where I think that's a little more likely than others here in just a second. Current temperature outside, 39. The coldest we've got was a 35, 34 in Paoli. So we're all above freezing. So that's going to be the case for the first round here. These snow showers and flurries that develop, they will be melting on contact. But as we get into the afternoon, we are going to get colder. We have a bit of dry air that it's going to be overcome a bit here in the next couple of hours. We have what we call a little more of a cooling effect. So we're going to cool down to about, I'm thinking about 34 here in Louisville. Once the light snow showers get a little closer to the city, we should see a drop to 34. We may hold at 34 for about 2 hours, and then we'll drop again, getting closer to 32, but that may take until about 5 p.m. to get us right at 32. Some of you in Indiana and up 71 will get to that mark a little faster than the city of Louisville will. So that's why I don't see much of an impact at all in the city of Louisville for a while, if any, to be honest. It's really going to be areas north and east of the city, a little more at risk for impacts a little faster, just because you're away from the urban heat island effect that is taking place. Wind is getting stronger outside. You probably have noticed that. If you have your inflatables that have been charged up, ready to go here today, are filling up with air in the yard, may want to just let them relax for a while, because the wind is going to be quite strong all the way through this evening. So most people don't use inflatables during the daytime. Just want to mention it. Just keep it on your decor period. Wind gusts, though, combined with the current temperatures, leading to wind chills already easing down into the mid-20s. That's only going to get worse, unfortunately, for the afternoon and tonight. Wind chills will be in the teens. I think we'll be in the teens for wind chills by the time we get to the 5 o'clock news for this afternoon, if not even a bit sooner. All right, so here's the satellite and the radar. Again, you can see where we had some of those hints of sun this morning, mainly down central and southern Kentucky. Those of you down into Taylor County, into Greene County, Marion County, likely are seeing that sun shining. But you should also see some of the darkening skies, too. If you look to the north, you should see hints of what's developing in that area. All right, here are the snow showers developing into Jennings County. Notice a little bit of the darker the blue that is showing up there, northwest Jennings County there. So you're probably getting a little decent of a snow shower. These are mainly flurries for the most part into Jackson, Lawrence County. Flurries there again into Clark County, Scott County, Indiana, all the way to Trimble and Carroll into Kentucky. Just now starting to get the very beginning stages of this. But again, your thermometer is above freezing. Checking some of the latest ground reports from MPing. So somebody put in a flurry chance even, or flurry report even into Louisville. We've got a couple that have been showing up at times, though, where the snow showers are popping into Indiana. Okay, so here's the game plan. These are going to really take advantage of the max heating of the day. So this area right through in Indiana is going to expand all the way down into central and east Kentucky, and it's really flowing along the wind pattern coming off of Lake Michigan. So a northwest to a southeast turn is basically the direction most of these snow showers not only be moving, but also developing will be in this general area. And then it turns a little more westerly as you get into between Lexington and, say, east of there into Richmond, Kentucky. Once you get into that zone, that's where the flow of snow showers will almost head due west to east in some cases. But for Indiana and for much of Wave Country, actually, it'll be a northwest to southeast direction. What we're looking for today, and this is key on impacts and even snowfall. will be the one or two snow showers that develop some of those darker streaks that we saw there into Jennings County that will then begin to build southeast. You'll be able to track them. If you are on either side of that, you may not get even a flurry out of it. But if you're right in the path, that's the areas that you need to watch for some of those enhanced snow showers for this afternoon. Again, these are heat-based. I know it's not a hot day. It's the opposite. But there is still heating taking place from the sun today. So that is allowing for the max potential of these to be during the daylight hours. Once we get closer to sunset, they lose that, obviously. So they will begin to decrease in intensity and in coverage. I think the modeling, as I'm going to show you in a second, is too fast with that. It usually is. We do tend to have flurries or even one or two snow showers that linger all the way into the evening hours that can cause a few surprise little slick spots here and there. So I don't want to diminish them too quickly in this kind of a scenario. But I do think this is a very classic setup for snow showers and even snow squalls, which a squall is where you see a lot, sometimes more into a little closer to bodies of water, whether it's the Great Lakes or into the eastern seaboard. You may run into snow squalls at times in that kind of scenario. You can get them, obviously, in the middle of the country. We've had them here. We had our first snow squall warning in Louisville, 2020, I believe that was. My mind, that whole period, it's kind of a blur from my brain. So right around 2020, I believe it was, in January, we had our first one that was issued. And I think we did it again a year later. But those are only issued for almost like you would have for a severe thunderstorm warning. Very short term, but very intense amount of snow. So if you hear anything about a snow squall warning today, see any kind of alert on the Wave Weather app that gets triggered on your phone, that pops up, that's something you need to pay attention to right then. You got to treat it almost like you would a severe thunderstorm warning. Otherwise, these will mainly just be flurries and snow showers. Now, I know the ground's warm. I know temperatures have been running warm so far today in the upper 30s. It will not matter in this scenario if the snowfall rate is there. You got to have the rate. If you have a heavy of snow rate, which in this case, because of the convective nature of these snow showers, they can overcome a warm ground and cause brief accumulations and slick roads rather quick. Again, reason why the winter weather advisory is out is for that kind of a scenario. If the snowfall is too light and you got just flurries that are flying in your area, you will not get any accumulation that will take place until it gets past sunset and gets colder. We cool things down. Then maybe some minor accumulation. But as far as the daytime snow today with flurries, it's not going to happen. If you get a heavier snow shower, yes, it can overcome a warm ground. You can look at your thermometer outside and you should see it drop as the snow shower is getting heavier. You should see it start to go from 36, 35, 34. It should start to steadily drop. In some cases, while you're looking at it, that may start to happen as pretty common in these kind of scenarios. All right, so just be careful. Just traveling around to area malls and doing some shopping today, as it's more about visibility than anything, driving through some of these. That'll be very off and on. Here's where I think right now the snow squall potential is going to take place. I think anywhere on this line that I drew that's across Indiana, north of Louisville, and around Lexington. That line, I think, is where you have the best potential to get snow squalls that could be rather intense, up to maybe a half inch or so per hour. That could develop maybe heavier. That's the zone that I'm watching right now that stands out. The zone in between the two lines, which would include Louisville, I think is where you could get one or two of those, but I don't see them right now being as intense as the zone to the northeast looks to be. But it's not completely off the table. It's just a little less likely. And you get to the other side of the line, if you head toward Evansville and then central Kentucky, E-Town, down toward Campbellsville, you could get a few flurries, but I just don't right now see the support to get anything heavier than that at the moment. If things kind of redevelop a little more west than expected, we'll let you know, but that's kind of the trends right now. So that's basically how we're looking at the winter weather advisories as well, mainly for metro areas too. You got the Cincinnati, Louisville metro over to Lexington. The main concern is just the impact that'll be from these snow showers and people being out, with it being a holiday week, with Christmas a week away, and a lot of folks out, and still some schools in session. They just want to make sure everybody is aware of that. So we don't issue those, Weather Service issue those, and that's kind of how they've got them drawn up at the moment. So let me show you a closer view of that map. And again, we'll take you right into areas of Louisville. You can see it's Madison, Indiana, Scottsburg, Louisville, Shepherdsville to Bardstown and points east. Something I've been watching, I was trying to show you this camera a second ago, and it's since has improved. This is actually northeast of Indianapolis. This is live. This was nothing a few moments ago, and then a snow shower, as I was rambling when I first came on, hit. I couldn't even see the street. It was snowing so hard. But look at the rooftop Can you guys see that? The rooftop is white. The grass obviously is white. The cars are white. The reason why I'm showing you this is that it was basically in your whiteout condition a second ago, and now it doesn't look too bad. But this is the problem, and it's starting to pick back up again. You see it's starting to increase right in front of your eyes. But these are the type of snow showers that can basically do that kind of accumulation. They just turn everything briefly white. That's not a lot of snow here, guys. This is not a lot. But you get the impact that it can have on roads, where you can get some ice that can form there if you're not careful paying attention on braking and accelerating. Again, this is northeast of Indianapolis is what you're looking at there. Look at the wind coming off the buildings too, the snow blowing off of there. So you got to watch out for that reduced visibility. This has been off and on since I've been talking, guys, back and forth throughout the past hour especially. So we'll see some of that again build our way. So let me show you Futurecast. It's got a decent handle. It shows how they begin to pop. Again, you're looking at the darker blues for some of the more intense snow showers, and that would put it across Indiana up 71. And again, you can see one or two that try to form all the way to Bardstown, and even one or two down into Greene and Taylor. So I can't rule it out completely. The one or two may quickly develop there or sneak over the line, if you will. It's possible. It's just more likely in the zones that I drew out for you guys. A little more likely for areas north and east of town. They fade out. And again, I kind of like what the HER's doing here. It does linger a little later than sunset, and I do think that will be the case. I do think they're going to linger. Once we get past midnight, we really shouldn't see too much really ongoing. The wind will have a chance to relax, and then skies will clear. Lows tonight, a bit tough because the wind's got to relax. We got to have a clear sky. Those are the two main steps to get the thermometer begin to tank tonight. But if you get even just a half inch of snow on the ground today, and this may only be for your neighborhood, then you're going to have to shave off several degrees off whatever we show you on the forecast. You're going to be colder than that, and nearly 10 degrees colder than the rest of us will be. So kind of keep that in mind when I show you the numbers in a second, that you may have to adjust depending on how things go here for the rest of this afternoon. Snowfall amounts, I'll generally say like patchy areas of a dusting, and dusting would include some spots that could get up maybe a tenth of an inch. It's officially measurable, so we'll account for that. The metro may be a little bit difficult. If the majority of them are falling here over the next few hours, if we get one or two a little later in the day, then we may be able to fill in that little gap. I know you laugh at me with that gap there, but hey, I mean, usually that's how it plays out, right? Around the metro. A little better opportunity to get a little more of a half inch to 3/4 of an inch, or even up to an inch north and east there of our counties. And we'll just take it hour by hour. Snow squalls type scenario and snow showers like this are very difficult. It's hard to draw a map for this. They're just so patchy in how they develop and how they accumulate. It's just really hard to draw a boundary. They don't work like that. They don't follow the lines that we draw. They do their own thing. So we're trying to keep up with them. So we'll just keep you on the short-term social media and our newscast updates on that idea. Even the winter storm severity index, which, hey, at least we're in the zone. That's something, right? You can see it's got very limited impacts for a lot of Indiana into our Kentucky counties. Doesn't even have anything for Louisville, but you kind of get the idea that it's just going to be one of those things. You got to be careful as you're traveling, as you're driving through them, especially. Now, if you are going to be out after sunset tonight, even some patchy flurries could stick at that point, because we're going to get below freezing. We're going to get into the 20s. So be careful. If you're going to the malls this evening and doing some shopping, or going to a friend's house this evening, your potential to run into an icy patch or two is going to start to go up just because of it getting colder out. Even if you had snow showers all day that were melting all day, if the wind doesn't dry the roads up, which I'm betting on it will, if it's exposed to the wind, but if it's sheltered from the wind, it may develop a little bit of patchy ice there. So be careful if you're venturing out tonight. But again, this is not a big system. This is just one of those minor ones. And the reason why it gets a lot of attention, these minor setups like this, Louisville, especially on statistics, we're running into bigger problems on these days than we do with a winter storm warning for the city of Louisville. And it's for an obvious reason. Winter storm warning. Are you going to go to work today? Well, some of you have no choice. But a lot of you probably would stay home. You probably wouldn't go to the grocery today. You may not go to the doctor. You may say, I'm going to move the appointment till after the holiday or something. So winter storm warnings usually get a little more attention and more people react to it. Therefore, the number of incidents on the roads gets reduced. On these days, this is not a winter storm. This is a snow showery setup. More people are out and about. Schools are in session in many cases, and people are still out going to the doctors and going to do some shopping and going to Kroger, where the case may be. Therefore, the number of accidents goes up when you get a small patch of ice. So that's the reason why I want to make sure that we hit this pretty hard. Hey, look at this camera now. Look at that. Ooh, isn't that pretty? It is pretty. Don't get me wrong. It's not fun when you're driving through. I haven't seen anybody slide or anything like that. Everyone's just taking it slow northeast of Indy. But I love the visual of this because this really, oh, hello, geese. They're just cruising on by. They're like, you know what? We were going to stick around, but after seeing today, we're getting out of here. We're going to Florida. Maybe they probably weren't trusting the forecast very well for the winter outlook. And they're like, you know what? We'll stick around. Oh, second thought, we're out of here. Anyway, beautiful shot there. I can't guarantee everyone's going to have that kind of same image, but at least some of you will. I think some of you will. It's very, very pretty. All right, temperatures. We'll have that drop. They're already starting to do so. I just saw, it looks like all the international is now down to 37. So we are going to wet bulb, we call it. We're going to drop here as the snow showers develop in Indiana the next couple of hours. I think we'll settle about 35, 34, somewhere around there here very, very soon. We'll hold at that until we get a little bit later in the day, and then we'll drop. And that's when we run into more problems with wind chills into the teens. Quick update for the rest of the week. Tomorrow will be fine, just cold. Tomorrow, we got the rain that will arrive here as we head to late week. And then again, as we head into Christmas Day, into early for the holiday week between Christmas and New Year's. Most of this looks to be rain, but it does run into a block. So there is a chance that low pressure could allow for maybe a bit of a block, which could allow for maybe some snow showers for the New Year holiday. Ooh, hey, I'll put this back up. There we go, guys. Thanks for watching. I appreciate it. Sorry it's so brief. I got to get ready for the midday show. Again, I'll be back with another blog update for the midday period. I'll have more on the newscast starting on midday as well. But you guys keep the reports going, your snow reports. I'm seeing all your comments, I promise. Stay close to forecast changes. And hey, bring on the snow.